Back during one of my first few baseball workouts with my high school team, I remember talking with one of the pitching coaches about some of his past struggles when he was around our age at the time. He had tried to get bigger, but he could just never seem to gain any weight. No matter how hard he seemed to try, it just seemed like he could never really make any serious progress. That was up until he had discovered calorie tracking. He had talked to some of us about how that habit just really seemed to make his progress a whole lot faster, and he really started to enjoy weightlifting a whole lot more once he had started doing that. So he went into a little more depth with some of us skinnier guys who were trying to gain more weight at the time. I'm curious about it. I did go home and did more research on it, and not long after that, I had started tracking my own calories. The results were completely shocking to me because on just an average day, I was eating anywhere from 2 to 400 calories less than what my body was probably needing to just maintain my weight. And it is no wonder that I was barely gaining any weight at that time. And that was really how I had discovered my first major fitness mistake. I was eating more so based on how I had felt rather than making sure I was eating enough for my body to actually gain size. But because of this, I had been underweight for a couple of years at that point, if not underweight, right on the verge of being underweight. And the truth is, I think making fitness mistakes is inevitable for everybody, whether you've been lifting for years or you just started. At some point, you're just gonna get some things wrong. I know I've gotten plenty of things wrong, and I've made multiple mistakes that I've come to realize that had held me back for a long ass time now, and I'm sure I'm still making plenty more fitness mistakes I just haven't come to realize yet. But I do want to talk about some of the biggest ones I have made in the past and just what I'm doing now to make sure I don't ever do them again. When I did start making sure I was eating in a calorie surplus, I do remember almost immediately feeling a major difference in just how I felt. Even throughout my day, I had a whole lot more energy and I was able to give a whole lot more effort while I was in the gym, as well as my weights I was using. So my strength started improving a whole lot faster than it had before I was eating a proper amount. And I was also able, in just a few months, to get my body weight up to a much healthier place. Today, I still do use calorie tracking. It is a valuable tool that I am very glad I had found when I did. I see myself to continue using it for years to come, and I do still use other tools to make sure I am eating a proper amount, like meal prepping some of my meals for convenience and to avoid eating junk or just eating out more often. And I also do use the occasional homemade protein shake when I'm in a pinch and I just need to get in some calories or hit those protein goals by the end of the day. The next big fitness mistake I had made was inconsistent training. In my opinion, this was the mistake that has done the most harm to me. Just me skipping workouts, taking long extended periods away from the gym is really the whole reason I am here right now. I am trying to make this a lifestyle for myself to try and scratch this itch that I have had forever now. Another aspect of inconsistency that I had excelled at was I used to be a notorious program hopper. I could never stick with anything for more than a couple weeks. I was constantly doing new routines that I saw, new exercises. I never stuck with anything long enough to actually have it work for me to give me progress. I was basically just running in place, spinning my wheels. But now, this time around, lately, I have been a lot better at picking a program and sticking with it to see myself make progress on it before I do try and switch things up and jump onto something else. So I am really excited to see what I can achieve with just some pastime and me giving some consistent effort. Mistake number 3, not prioritizing my recovery. Firstly, with that is sleep. That thing everyone is always trying to fix, but they never quite do. Deep down, I've always known sleep is to be very important and a key part of recovery, but I just never prioritized it. I always put things like video games and scrolling on my phone over it. While my sleep is in a far better place than I think it's been in a long time, I know I still have a lot of work to do towards it. I have a lot I do want to learn about sleep, and also a lot of other things I want to try with my sleep to just try to make it that much better. With me being more consistent lately with my bedtime and just my wake up time as well, I have noticed major improvements in just how my sleep quality seems to be. But the newest thing I have also started doing with my recovery is taking stretching a whole lot more seriously. In the past, aside from the occasional stretch here or there, I never really made a habit out of it. So recently I have noticed some discomfort in my lower back and some mobility issues with my ankles and other places on my body. So I have started doing a stretching routine that I do a few times a week. I'm still making changes to it here and there to try to make it work for me and get the most benefit out of it. So once I have gotten better at that, I do want to give you guys more feedback on it and how it's helping me. And lastly, for recovery, are rest days and also deload weeks. Years ago, there was a time I did not take rest days. I would go to the gym and I would lift weights every single day of the week. While staying active is great, lifting weights every single day probably is not the greatest thing to be doing, because I was not giving my body enough time to actually rest and recover. So I did wind up stalling my progress pretty hard. Now I am a lot better at making sure I do have my rest days. I have 1 to 3 rest days a week usually. Right now I do have 2, but also as I do start lifting heavier weights, I want to start incorporating planned deload weeks into my routine as well. Not right now, probably a bit further down the line, because I'm not quite lifting, for me, heavier weights yet. I'm still kind of building myself up to that. But I remember in the past, I needed to take a week off for whatever reason, or I was just lazy. But I do remember coming back from those sometimes and feeling a whole lot better and just rejuvenated, and sometimes I would feel a lot stronger. I do think these would be good for me to just plan into my routine to give my body a longer period to recover, and I think it'll also greatly benefit just my joint and tendon recovery as well. Mistake number 4 I was making would be my bad form and also my ego lifting. These two, I think, pretty much go hand in hand most of the time. I'm not gonna lie, every now and then, little ego lifting can be pretty fun, maxing out here and there, if you're safe about it. But there was a time where I was basically maxing out multiple times a week for my workouts on multiple different exercises. I made pretty decent progress on it for a while, actually, but obviously it caught up to me and I basically completely stalled my progress. But like an insane person, I just kept doing it. But I would have been way better off just checking my ego, lowering the weights a little bit, and actually sticking with a proper program to improve, besides slapping more weight on the bar and seeing if I can force it up somehow or another. I have been a lot better at finding a program now and doing that and not trying to max out nearly as often. I'll go months now without even attempting any maxes at all. I am a lot more careful about my form as well. I have been trying to be more conscious about it and keeping stricter form as the weights go up. I don't want to have my form break down when I add more weight to the bar. I do not want to injure myself. That is just about the last thing I do need for myself. So yeah, pretty much me not eating enough, me ego lifting, slacking on all my recovery, and just training wildly and consistently have all played a major part in me slowing down my own progress. Fortunately, these are for the most part all behind me now. I have learned from those mistakes and I do what I can to prevent them, and I'm gonna continue to try to learn from future mistakes to prevent those from also holding me back. They are unfortunately just a part of the journey. You're gonna make mistakes here and there, but you just can't keep doing them forever and expect to get the best possible results. So just want to let me know what other mistakes, or if you've made similar mistakes to me so far on your fitness journey. I'd like to hear about those and what you've done to help stop those. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching. Try to keep moving forward, and later.